someone tapping on my roof. Why, when I choose to film, does like something have to happen? Is that or my roof's coming down? Just ignore the background noise. We have someone working on the roof, I believe. It sounds like. I'm not really sure what that noise is, but just ignore it. You ignore it, I'll ignore it. Things will be fine. I'm just waiting to see like the whole roof come falling off past my window like any second now. Hi guys! Okay, so today I'm just going to talk a little bit about Fibrofog. Now, I know I did one of my very first videos on how I am during Fibrofog. This week's video is more based on how I actually deal with Fibrofog when it's happening. These are some things that I actually do, and these are some things that I'm going to start trying. So, okay, let's get cracking with it. The best way that I could think to do this was to split it up into different categories. So the main ones that I could think of are mental, medication, emotional and environment. So there's 4 sort of sections. So I'm going to start with mental. Now during a Fibrofog, if you either get them or you know someone that has them, you'll know it's like your brain has just been turned off for a little while. So some of the things that I do is I always keep a notepad by my bed. So I have multiple different ones. I have little books everywhere, because if you have anything that's on your mind at night time before you go to sleep, or in general if something pops into your head and you really don't want to forget them, just jotting them down is such a really good method. Like, I know you then have the problem of remembering what you did with your notepad, but I always keep it by the side of my bed so I know exactly where it is all the time. I find that one really quite useful. Another thing that I do is I have wipeable boards around the house. So I have one that lives on my bedroom door. I will show you now. I think this was from Pound World or Poundland, one of those shops, and it was £1. Stating the obvious yet again. But yeah, and this actually comes with its own little pen, and it's magnetic and a wiper. And I just find, again, like if you have them in multiple places around the house, when those little things pop into your head, you can write it down, and once you've done with it, it's done. Like on this one, this is the one from my bedroom, I have this side where if there's any jobs that I want to get done or things that I need to do, I write it down on this side, and I keep all my prescriptions and stuff there, because I'm terrible for losing my repeat prescriptions, and it's just a pain in the bum when you do your tablets and you end up having to go back to the doctor again because you've lost your stuff. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. That's the other thing that comes with these, is 2 little magnets. So I think these are great, and it's made a big difference in general, but even more so during a flare up, because not only can I write on them, but if someone else needs to leave a note for me or anything, like they can just put it on and then I'll see it. So another thing that I've been trying to do in terms of mental help for a Fibrofog is just doing like little puzzles or something that stimulates your brain a little bit, because this will just sort of help redevelop any cognitive sort of problems that are going on, and it just helps a little bit. I have multiple games on my phone. I really like Solitaire. I'm not one for crosswords. I don't particularly like crosswords, but I do like word searches and Sudokus and stuff like that. But one that I have actually found, which actually dips into another category, is Zentangle. It's like it's basically just doodling, but it kind of like focuses your brain a little bit, and yeah, I find that really quite therapeutic. Plus you get a nice piece of artwork at the end of it, so you can't go wrong. There isn't a right or wrong way to do this stuff, so that's quite nice, because you can't feel disappointed with yourself when it doesn't look quite how you thought it was going to. You adapt it and add other stuff to it. Another thing that I do for like my mental help is that I keep a diary. I do have a written version, but I also do one on my phone. So if I've been and done something and I want to remember it, I will write it down, because a lot of the time people say to me, oh, remember 2 weeks ago when we said this? And I'm like, it's like that didn't ever happen in my brain, and it's quite frustrating. So if I have something I can refer back to, it just kind of brings it back, which you can't do during a fog on your own, which can be very frustrating, because you don't want to feel like you didn't enjoy the moment or you weren't involved. So yeah, I find that's quite a useful little method. The next category is medication. Now, it sounds really quite bizarre, but during a flare-up, especially during a foggy flare-up, you kind of forget the really important stuff as well as the not important stuff, and medication, particularly with me, is a key one. So I have several things that I do to help make it a little bit easier on myself, and one of the things that I do is I will set alarms on my phone if I have certain tablets that I have to take, because you could be doing something and completely forget that that's something you need to do. So yeah, alarms on your phone is a good method, because it's right there and then you can't ignore it, you have to do it. There are one or two like my medicine apps. If you have either an iPhone or an Android phone, on Google Play and all of these things, all you have to type in is medication and you will find so many. There are some free ones, there are some you can pay for as any kind of app. I've tried a couple of them. Personally, I prefer just setting an alarm myself. I don't know, I feel a bit strange about entering my details in. I don't know why. That's just my own personal choice, but you might find that really helpful. There are some good ones, but like I say, it's just not my preference. Medication boxes. This is one, again, that is so simple, but it just makes a massive difference. I personally have... Shake your Tic Tacs. I have this one, and it is just the full day, because now I'm at the point where I know just by looking at them which tablets I need from the day. So I don't put my actual painkillers in this one. I have this little bag with them in separate. So again, these are always by my bedside. If I'm going anywhere, it is just a case of zipping that up, and it doesn't take up too much room, but I can throw it in a handbag or a rucksack if I'm going somewhere overnight, and I know that everything I need is in there, and I'm not going to be left without any kind of painkillers or the tablets that I need. Really useful. Again, Pound Shop, the bag itself, I think I got this from a chemist. It had makeup brushes in, but I just thought it was the perfect size for what I need. But yeah, you can get things like that in the Pound Shop. Even like a little makeup bag or something like that, or a wash bag, I find does the trick. Again, as I said before, in terms of like repeat prescriptions, just find a useful place to keep them all together, because it is a pain when you've gone through the effort of getting a repeat prescription from your doctor, and then you have to end up going back again because you've lost the stuff that they've done for you. So yeah, that's actually made a big difference. I've been doing that for a couple of months now, and I haven't lost one yet, touch wood. The next side of things I would say is the emotional level of fibrofog, because I know I get very frustrated and embarrassed and anxious a lot more during a fibrofog, and there's one or two little things that can help. As anything, if it's emotional, you have to work on it, and everyone's going to be different, and a lot of these things are so easy to say and not so easy to do, but here's a few things that I've been trying, and it's slowly making a difference. So the first thing that I would do is don't get too upset when words are coming out wrong or you forget your sentences, because it's going to happen. You can't help it. There's nothing you can do. So just don't get too stressed about it. Just let the fibrofog take its time, and things do eventually come back to you. If they've gone, they've gone. There's not a lot you can do about it. So again, it links back to writing stuff down. If you've got something you need to tell someone that's not there at the time, write it down, and then you've got it in front of you at some point later on when you need it. So the other thing I would say is try and see the funny side, because there will be some things that come out of your mouth that really are funny. Like, I know there are times when I'll say a sentence and it comes out completely wrong, and the things that just fly out are ridiculous, that even once I hear it, I can't help but laugh. And I know that the people around me are trying not to laugh, so when I laugh, they know it's okay for them to kind of just join in, because especially when some words, if you get them the wrong way around, can be quite rude. Yeah, it could be awkward, but just laugh it off. You laugh or you cry, that's what I was always told. Another thing that you can try and do is just trying some breathing exercises, such as mindfulness ones, and just take that time out to sort of calm down. If I'm getting anxious and things like that, I have found that the mindfulness can help if it's not too high a level, but it is a case of practicing and just getting used to doing it a little bit, and I just find it makes things that little bit less stressful and takes you out of that moment for a little while. One of the biggest things that I would say in terms of emotionally dealing with a fibro fog is telling people around you that you are having a foggy day, because if you are struggling to get words out or remember things, it might mean that the people around you actually listen a bit more to what you're saying, so that if you forget later on, they'll have heard it and remembered it. But not only that, it means that if you are saying something, you can say, I need a bit more time to say what I want to say. Plus, you also don't feel quite so alone if the people around you know that you're having a bad time, so that's definitely a big one I would recommend if you don't do that already. The final category that I want to talk about is your environment. So this can be anything from like where you are and what you're doing. So one of the things I would say is mild exercise. Now, obviously when you do exercise, it helps release endorphins through your body, and it just helps boost everything a little bit. Obviously you have to do it in moderation and according to what you can physically do. For me personally, I do my physio exercises every day, so that to me is my little run of exercises. I don't hit the gym for 2 hours and feel great, that's not what I do. I have a few really gentle exercises that I have to do each day as part of my physiotherapy treatment, and just doing that makes a massive difference. Another tip that I would say is just organise and declutter your house and your room, particularly wherever you spend most of your time. I would recommend decluttering it out a bit, because you don't need loads of stuff around you so that when you're struggling to remember where things are, you've got a mountain of things to go through. But it really does make a difference, because you don't have so many options as to where you could have lost things. Obviously it does take time to get your entire household that way, but like I say, if you just start with where you spend the majority of your time, it makes a massive difference. You have that little bit less stress and anxiety about things, really. Keeping things like your house key, your wallet and your phone in a similar place all the time, or in the same place, is a really helpful one. Like, we have a set of hooks in the main hallway, and I always try and remember to put my key on there, and if it's not in there, the other place that I will keep it is my handbag, which I always keep in the same spot in the bedroom, so if ever you need those things in a rush, you know pretty much where they are. The final thing, like the final bit of advice that I have and I can give, is that if you have an important meeting or an important appointment you have to get to, like for me personally, I've just finished my pain management, but every Tuesday I was getting a lift with one of the other people that was in the group, so I knew I had to be ready for a certain time. What I used to do was I would get my bag and all my outfits sorted the night before, because we had different things we had to keep filling in and do it, not homework but things to work on. So yeah, just getting your things ready and sorted the night before means that's one less stress for you the following morning, and I've found that makes a massive difference to me during a foggy flare up particularly. So that's pretty much it in terms of helpful tips for during a fibro fog. If you do anything or you found anything that helps, get in touch, leave a comment below, or message me on Facebook. I will leave links for all the places you can contact me in the description box, just there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been a bit helpful. And if you are going through a foggy flare up at the minute, try not to worry about it, and I hope you get better soon. See you next Friday, guys. Bye. One day I'ma grow up big and I'ma be a king, and my papa told me